Good evening. An army of close to 15,000 Port Adelaide supporters is marching across the border ahead of the Powers preliminary final. And 9 News has teams on the ground at the MCG, in Melbourne, on the highway at Tailem Bend and at Alberton. Let's go first now, though, to Warren Treadray at the MCG. Treaders, all is in readiness for Port's tilt at a third AFL Grand Final appearance.
Yeah, it is, Brent, and well, let's face it, Port Adelaide has been in 4 prelim finals here at the MCG. Port Adelaide has lost 2 and we won 2 back in the day, and I can tell you from personal experience, it's one of the greatest feelings you will feel as a footballer, knowing you're off to a grand final and the big game the last weekend in September. Now, I've already been seeing plenty of Port fans around Melbourne. They're in full voice, and Eddie Godfrey has been with them all day, and Eddie, they're painting the town black, white and teal.
They certainly are, Treaders, and there's no missing them. We caught up with a very passionate group of supporters at Federation Square this afternoon who aren't afraid to tell everyone who they are and who they support. Look out, Melbourne. The Port Adelaide fans have arrived.
Never tear us apart!
Die-hard supporters from near and far belting out the power war cry as they marched along the Yarra River.
We live out at Brunswick, which is 15 minutes out of the city on a tram, still follow the power.
Others making the pilgrimage from Adelaide to Melbourne a day early.
The Hawks should be scared because we're here, there's 20,000 of us coming across and we're going to here to win.
They'll join thousands of others at the Bells Hotel in South Melbourne tomorrow morning, which has become a home away from home.
It's going to be cracking. We're looking at getting about 2,000 crazy, mad, pumping Port Adelaide supporters down here.
While supporters are already fired up, players remained cool as they touched down in Melbourne this afternoon.
All right, buddy.
Even cooler as they took a dip at the team hotel. The MCG eerily calm today as ground staff finished line marking and carried out final checks on the game's biggest stage ahead of one of the game's biggest days. Now, most supporters will arrive here tomorrow. There are at least a dozen buses set to depart Alberton in just a few hours' time. They'll get here around about 9 a.m. and then it's look out from there, Brenton, because they'll join anywhere up to 20,000 other Port supporters in a 2-kilometre march towards the G for tomorrow's match.
Yeah, have fun. Thanks, Eddie. It's going to be huge. Well, before the team flew out, Port Adelaide fans descended on Alberton for their final training session. For many, it was a last chance to see their heroes before Saturday's clash.
The faithful out in force to send their heroes off in style. The loudest cheer was reserved for the man at the helm. The coach quickly becoming Powers' poster boy.
You see my ugly face? It doesn't excite me, that part, but it's a bit of fun.
For many fans, this morning's training was a final glimpse.
Not all the supporters can actually make it over to Melbourne, so they need to know that we're all behind them.
Yeah, it's great. We love their support and they love coming out and getting around us, so very enjoyable.
For others, it's just the beginning of the journey. Melbourne, beware. The army is coming.
Once we get about Ballarat, people in Melbourne will start getting nervous because they'll start to hear that we're coming.
The invasion via any means possible, and for many, by air. Power fans streaming through Adelaide Airport today, but loyalties are divided for siblings Max and Kate Thomas.
Your sister obviously goes for Hawthorn. Do you two argue about that a little bit?
Sometimes.
Who do you think's going to win?
I don't know.
While it was an early start for those getting to the game by rail on the overland.
Well, this journey is the first time I've been on the train, but this current team is worth going for.
And so confident as some of the faithful, they're already looking ahead and booking to return to Melbourne next week.
We've already got our tickets already booked.
The players heading off mid-afternoon, again supported by the Port Adelaide posse.
Go to the power!
Harvey Biggs, 9 News.
And those Power supporters not flying or taking the overland to Melbourne are taking the highway. Will McDonald has been chatting to some already on the road, joins us live from Tailem Bend. And Will, has it been uneventful for the fans so far?
Good evening, Brenton. Well, it's been largely incident-free for all of those Power fans making the 725-kilometre journey to Melbourne. Now, police, of course, have been keeping a close eye on the Duke's Highway, and they've told us they've been fairly happy the way drivers have been behaving, and there's been very few issues. But just as importantly, there's been plenty of confidence among those supporters. Cruising to victory. At least that's what the army of Power fans were hoping on the drive to the MCG.
Go Power!
black, white and teal the most important accessory at the traditional rest stop in Bordertown.
Quite a few Port supporters on the roads with their scarves and
they're all hanging them out the window.
Yeah.
So we're going driving over, and then 4 o'clock Sunday morning we're jumping back in the car heading straight back to Adelaide.
It's absolutely so exciting. Everyone's just right into it. We just love our Port Adelaide boys, so go Port!
For some diehards, leaving the four-legged fans at home simply wasn't an option.
Good luck charm.
Across the border in the Victorian town of Horsham, a friendly, colourful welcome, well, at least until you took a closer look.
It was intentional, bit of tongue-in-cheek. I'm a Magpie supporter.
Jokes aside, it wasn't the least bit fun for those doing the wrong thing on the highway. Police in both marked cars and undercover keeping close watch, and thankfully most were playing by the road rules. And in what hopefully is a positive omen for her fellow Power fans, Tonya Giannakis is predicting a Port Adelaide win. Believe it or not, 15-year-old Tonya is the AFL's top tipper, defeating 162,000 others to win 20 grand cash.
Yeah, I just got really lucky, that's all that.
So let's hope Tonya's prediction proves correct. And of course, the police presence on the roads will stay strong tonight as those Power fans who have just knocked off work start that trip from Adelaide to Melbourne. And of course, the police presence will be strong right throughout the weekend, especially on Sunday when all those Power fans start returning, hopefully with a place in the grand final. Brenton, it's back to you.
Yeah, good on you, Will. Go and enjoy a steak sandwich for us.